Can you please tell us your name?
My name is Irving Saunders.
I'm Little Saunders.
Where were you born and how old are you now?
I was born in a country called Curacao, and that was in the Dutch West Indies, and I am 63.
I was born in Jamaica, and I'm 64.
How long did you live there for?
I left Jamaica when I was 20.
And I lived in I'll go back. I was born in Curacao, and we left Curacao to come to Trinidad when I was 5 years old. So I lived in Trinidad for 7 years before we came to England.
What was it like growing up in your own country?
Go on, Lil.
Oh, lovely. It was lovely. Loads of friends. What I love about Jamaica is also the fruits, the variety of fruits, the beautiful sunshine, the lovely sea, the clubs that we used to belong to. We used to go swimming every Sunday morning at 5 o'clock. And that was like 3 miles away from where we live. But we used to walk and then get back in the back of a pickup truck or something like that. So it was just great fun. Great fun.
For me, I grew up in Trinidad, and I think what I can remember about it was just the community. You felt part of a community, even from 4 or 5 years old. You felt that you belonged to a community. Everybody knew your family, everybody knew you, and it just felt comfortable, And in Trinidad, we had so many different races. We had the Negroes, the Chinese, the Indian. So you ate everybody's food, and it was just comfortable and nice and warm and hot,
What's your favorite memory?
Oh, Lil?
Favorite memory of Jamaica? There's so many.
Yeah.
I think I don't suppose I have a favorite, but there were some lovely ones. Like, I didn't grow up with my father, and my father lived up in the country. And when I go on holidays, I used to go with my sister to the river, just to wash the clothes in the river. But that was miles. It just seemed like ages to get there. But just, walking to the river, picking mangoes on the way, and carrying the mangoes with you and stuff like that. It was just great fun. That was one.
Yeah, I think for me it was just doing boys stuff, playing football, playing cricket, the freedom. You'd leave home in the morning about 9 o'clock, you wouldn't get back home until 6 o'clock in the evening. Your parents weren't worried about you because you were safe. And yeah, that was one. And the other memory was the food. The availability of the food. It was just everywhere, and you just absorbed it. And then it came to England. We landed in Southampton, and we got the train from Southampton to Dagenham in London.
How did it feel?
It was strange. What I could remember is the train leaving Southampton and traveling all the way to London, and on the way to London, you saw all these playing fields and children playing football in the playing fields, and there's me thinking, right, I'm going to be doing that soon. But then you got to Dagenham, and all the houses were joined up. They had all these terrace houses, and it was strange. The first thing I remember the next morning, you don't see them now, but it was a milk float. People used to have the milk delivered outside their houses. And you heard this milk float driving along, and you looked out the window and you saw this milk float driving along. Yeah, so it was strange.
I think for me it was, as Irving said, it was the houses, all the houses joined up together. And I'm thinking, wow, it's just so different from back home where all the houses, are single houses. And then that same evening I went to the shops. I went to the paper shop with my nieces. And we walked into the paper shop, and it was all these sweets. This variety of sweets, it's like the chocolates and everything that you don't have in Jamaica, I just thought, I could do it I just wanted one of everyone, at that time. I mean, I didn't buy it then, but it's just the thought of having that choice You know, it's just, I think, wow, this is fantastic.
Tell us about what you did when you came to the UK.
Yeah.
I came here to do my training. I came here to train as a nurse. So I went straight to the north of England, to Ormskirk, just outside of Liverpool. And I was there for about 3 years. I did my general training then, and then I went from there to Yorkshire and did my midwifery in Yorkshire, and then came to London.
I came when I was 12, so I left home, I left Trinidad in year 8. And by the time we landed in about, May. So I didn't go to school, we did go to school after 5 weeks away from school. So I started year 8 here in England, and it was, I think what I could remember, it was having school dinners. So I couldn't remember the dinner, but I could remember the sponge pudding and custard. You know, that's the first thing I could remember. School wasn't hard. The pupils, I didn't find any prejudice or being called any names or anything. I think as boys, you know, at that sort of age, you know, you're so excited about everything. So we just settled in. But I stayed. We left that school after the summer. We broke up in July. We had the summer holidays, but then we moved to another area. We moved further out into Essex, and that's where I started year 9. So for me now, that was the proper school. So I had year 9, year 10, and year 11 in that school, and then we did our exams. Yeah.
I think they usually recruit us in twos to the hospitals. So when I got to Ormskirk, there were 2 other Jamaicans about in senior nurses. So we were in the same nurses' home. So we settled in okay because we felt we had that protection but yet we met no prejudice at all while we were there, you know. We were just welcomed into the area. It was really nice. And the nurse in charge of the nurses' home, who looked after us, whatever we wanted, we could go to her. She would just give us anything we asked for. You know, it was just fantastic, really nice.
How did you feel about that?
Oh, I felt good. I felt lovely. I think this is what England is all about. I've been dreaming about England. This is what it's about, you know. And you used to see pictures of the hospital with the girls out on the lawn, sitting down in the sun, and you think, okay, this is what I'm going to enjoy. And we just did the same thing, and it was just lovely. And the group, the nursing group that we started with as well, they were so warm and so welcoming. You know, they were so glad to have us. You know, they did anything for us. It was really lovely.
Yeah, when I started my school in Essex, there was only three pupils from ethnic backgrounds, and it was, I wouldn't say it was hard, but you know, it was different because, you know, you were 3 amongst 350 pupils. So, you know, you had brothers. I had 2 brothers, but they went to another school. So it was just me, another guy, he was a year older than me, and another girl, she was a year older than me. So, you know, we had to adjust. But in the times that we grew up in the times we were in secondary school, it was, immigrants didn't have it easy. You know, you either doing nursing, a bus driver, train driver, and then, you know, you would hear things about, we've got too many immigrants, you know, when are they going to go back home? So the atmosphere was I wouldn't say it was hostile, but yeah, certain members of society weren't welcoming. They were born in England, Essex, and we moved to Swansea when they were 2 and 3 year olds. So they've grown up in Swansea. They're well speaking. They went to Gowerton Yeah, they went to the Welsh school in Gowerton, and you know they're Welsh speaking, and they were in the same position like me. You know, they were the only ethnic minority kids in their school. You know, so but they adjusted.
Yeah.
I think as my parents' generation made it easier for me, and we made it easier for our children. So you know they grew up amongst the Welsh kids, and you know they were fine. Yeah.
Sorry, I think before you go into that, I mean, you haven't asked about, you know, coming to Swansea, but I just want to point out that when we came to Swansea and the boys were that young, you know, when we moved into our area, we really felt welcome, because we had cards coming through the door, welcome to the area. The neighbours were dropping us, you know, cards and just welcoming us, and I thought that was so sweet, because we've never had that before, you know. And to come to Swansea and being black in that area and to get those little cards welcoming you, you know, I thought that was really lovely. Really lovely neighbours we have. Yeah.
I think, you know, I've done a lot of traveling, holidays and whatever, but the more you travel and then you come back to Wales, you realize how friendly the Welsh people are. You know, you go to other countries and you don't get that sort of, you know, just people passing you in the street saying, you know, acknowledging you. You don't get that in a lot of countries. So, you know, it's like, Swansea felt like the West Indies, you know, that sort of community feel. People were welcoming you and so forth, yeah.
And how did it feel bringing your children up in the UK?
Yeah, that's mainly Wales. Yeah, I think they settled. Yeah, they settled fine. You know, they had a wide range of friends at school and at church. You know, I think the only thing they missed was some of their cousins, because their cousins were back in England. So you know, we would only see them like
When the cars are parked.
once or twice a month or so, or even less. So you know, they missed their cousins, but they settled. Settled here.
Yeah, I think what happened as well is that when we came here, right, they were advertising for the Welsh schools. You know, they were like on the radio, on the television, they were like promoting, you know, the Welsh language, and wanted you to send your children to Welsh schools. So we grasped that opportunity and sent them to the Welsh school. And I think deep down that the Welsh school was much warmer welcoming them than the English one, because there was an English one about a couple of streets away, and our neighbours were English. Well, he was from Wales, but he came in from England because he used to work in England. And his children, they went to the English ones, and they told him to go back to England and stuff like that. And they were white, you know, indigenous population. So the boys didn't have that problem at all in school, and I thought it was the Welsh one was more welcoming and much warmer, you know, much warmer. The church is a big asset, big asset.
So is there anything different, like, that you had to adapt to, like, concerning food in British or Welsh?
I think for me it was the weather, the rain. You know, we came in from Essex. Essex was cold, but it wasn't as wet. And then coming to Swansea and the rain, you know, you just cannot get used to the rain. But the food and so, no, there wasn't a problem. The people. I worked as a district nurse in Swansea, and the people were lovely. You know, everybody was welcoming, no problems at all with the people. You know, I worked in the outlying areas of Swansea, Pencloud, right down on the coast, and everybody was lovely. But you know, it was just the weather. The winters were fine, yeah. But it's just the rain.
I did crave the food. I remember thinking, I miss my mangoes. I love mangoes, my favorite fruit. And I just think that Jamaica is the only country that's got more mangoes than anybody else, you know.
That's what she thinks.
And so you see, when I go in the shops, that was another when I first came in. I go in the shops, and they had mangoes, and you had to pay for it. And I'm thinking, I am not going to spend my money buying a mango when I get it free back home. I never thought of the fact that you're going to pay so much money to go home and get the mangoes, you know what I mean? But you just refuse to buy mangoes when you get it free, you know? So I crave the fruits that I used to get. The neath berries, all the star apples and all these things, the guavas. I did crave them. So when I get to a shop that sells them, I was always buying up these things, which wasn't very often. So after 3 years in Liverpool, well, outside of Liverpool, where you didn't get these things, by the time you come into Wales, you can adjust.
You're telling us how you had to adapt to the language, like the English language and English. What sort of languages?
Jamaica was a Commonwealth country, so English was our first language, so didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
What parts of your culture has stayed with you till date?
My patois, I try not to forget it, you know. But Irving doesn't understand it because he's from Trinidad, so he doesn't understand it. So when my sister comes to visit, you know, we're just well into the patois, he's well out of it, you know. But I miss the patois a bit. I love it. I try to hang on to it because it's like an identity of Jamaica. So I hang on to the patois.
Yeah, I think for me it was, I think that community, that everybody you met or you saw, you know, you acknowledged that person. You didn't differentiate between somebody's color or race or religion. Everybody was accepted where we were from in Trinidad. So you came here and you kept that identity, you know. You just accept people for what they are, and you take the sort of goodness from somebody else's culture and just try to use it, you know. Somebody else's food, if they're cooking something that's nice, you know, you say, oh, you know, can I incorporate that into my cooking? And it just accepting people for who they are, you know. They were breaking down those barriers, you know, between people.
So, do you have a family back home?
No. My parents came with us. We've got a few cousins. Yeah, my family's very, very mixed up. My parents, they started off in St. Vincent, which is a British West Indian island. They went from St. Vincent, my father went from St. Vincent to another island called Curaçao, which is Dutch. And we were born in the Dutch West Indies. When he got laid off from his job in the Dutch West Indies, he came to England and we went to Trinidad. So we've got all those sort of links. But I've only got cousins in St. Vincent, but some of my family who was born in Curaçao, they now live in Holland. So I've got part of my family in Holland. So, yeah. But we haven't got many. I haven't got many back in the West Indies. But you've got?
Yes, I got family in Jamaica. There were 12 of us. I've got my brothers and I've got sisters still in Jamaica.
Do you travel back to visit them?
Not really, not as often as I should. And that's another thing. I've been here now over 40 years and I think I've lost my contact with Jamaica. In a sense, even though I've got family out there, I'm not one of those who like phone your family every week just to see how they're doing. I didn't start that, I didn't cultivate that habit. So we haven't really spoken, you know.
You see them
for quite
what?
a while. Yeah, so when I go home, the last time I went home was 2015. I went home and it was for my sister's birthday. She was 80 something. So yeah, so I don't go home very often as I should, and I'm losing it completely as the years go by.
But I think what they say is where you spend your childhood, that's home.
Yeah.
You know, that always stays. So, you know, you may be here for 40, 50 years, but you still, a part of you is always back, you know, where you spent, where you spent your childhood. Yeah.
So, did you take some of your family traditions into your current family?
Yeah, our religion, you know, we brought it. We came from the West Indies with it, you know, and we're still here. Food-wise, yeah. You bring your food with you, and you know it stays. Yeah. It stays with you.
Yeah, it's just food and religion, isn't it? Just how you learned to cook when you were growing up. You still practice that now. Although I'm beginning to change my lifestyle a bit, but also the denomination was the essential part of our lives back home. and here, and it's a religion that's found around the world. So we just really just fell into it when we came here.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything
Yeah.
new.
With things like that, you take it with you because it's in here. You know, some things you can't transport from where you come from, but things like your religion, your beliefs, your food, and whatever, you know, you just bring it with you.
So, can you please tell us about the new British traditions, how they had an impact on you? Like, for example, the food, the celebrations, the language, things like that.
Well, the language is the same. That hasn't changed. The food, yes, we had to adjust with the food. And I got to admit, it used to be, before I gave up meat, but my favorite English food was beans and chips and burgers. I still love the beans and chips.
Yeah.
But yes, but I have adjusted with the food over the years, you know, but...
Yeah, I think for me, I didn't have much problem with the food. We tend to season our food a lot more. So, you know, you use different spices and herbs and salt and pepper and whatever. So our food tends to be a bit seasoned a bit more. So I think that was the only thing. Whereas here, you know, it might be a bit more plain and bland. But everybody's eating like everybody else nowadays. So, you know, it's all one big melting pot. Yeah.
Okay. So far, what do you think your greatest achievement is? Your greatest career achievement?
Okay, yeah, I went into nursing, and to me, engaging with people, helping people, and just seeing people who are ill get better. And yeah, to me, I think that's been my greatest achievement.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, I'm nursing. I'm a nurse, and I didn't even have any problem settling in Swansea when I moved from England, because I just applied for the job and I got it, you know. And what I find is, and I got to admit, I thank God all the time for where I work, because the environment is so good. The people I work with are really nice. I'm not going to say there's no prejudice there. There is prejudice there. There is prejudice in the environment, but it hasn't really affected me as such, because I see the prejudice now that didn't exist before, if you get what I mean. It's a different generation now. So I see how they treat newcomers compared to when I first started. So for me, I haven't felt that, because I am now more like a mature person in the environment. So it hasn't affected me, but I see how others are being treated, you know, and it does. And I'm talking about others from different countries as well.
When did you retire?
Actually, I'm still working. He's the one who's retired.
6 months ago.
Any last words?
Any last words? Wait.
Do you know, somebody said, I listened to a presentation once, right? And the speaker said, I don't know if you know this nursery rhyme, you know, pussycat, pussycat, where have you been? I've been to London to visit the Queen. And this person said that if you come to the end of the nursery rhyme, it says, and what did you do there? And the cat said, I frightened a little mouse under the chair, right? And the speaker ended by saying, there was Buckingham Palace, there was St. Paul's Cathedral, there was Big Ben, and all the cat saw, right, was a little mouse under the chair. That's all he saw. He focused on that, and that's all he saw. He didn't see anything else. And I think prejudice is there. You are going to find it, right? And you're going to see it as well. But don't look for it. If you're looking for it, you're going to see it, right? And you will also feel, somebody will basically be prejudiced against you. But I'm not hiding it. I'm aware of it. But that is just one person compared to a whole community of people, because there are people out there who like you. There are people out there who stand up for you, but there are people out there who don't like you, and they'll show you that. So if you're looking for prejudice, you will find it. So basically focus on something else more positive. As you go through life, you've come here to achieve something, aim for what you want, and you will get it. If a black man can get into the White House, then you can get to the top as well. You get what I mean? So don't let your color hold you back, because the opportunities are there. Just be positive and just ignore the ones who are prejudiced against you, because there are ones out there who still like you and will help you to get to the top. So go for the top, always.
And I think the environment you kids are growing up in, I think it's the best time to be here. You know, you've got people from all parts of the world, and just use the positiveness from everybody and just advance yourself. You know, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.